We have returned to Monday, and you know what time it is. Shouldn't have to tell you anymore. Time to get it popping right now on the number one form of Crimson Tide football news, hottest show on the streets, that being in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have each and every last one of you tuned in to the network show and channel on today. We got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Football's back, especially the NFL. Saw some great games on Sunday. Was awesome. Of course, my Falcons didn't win, but that's okay. Of course, college football was in week 2 on last week. Saw some good games right there, but your Alabama Crimson Tide, they will take the field on Saturday, September 26th to face the Missouri Tigers in Columbia, Missouri. Alabama concluding fall camp on last week with an awesome scrimmage. We'll get into that as well. But as always, we're bringing you this show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you via YouTube. Now, speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so that way you can stay up on all the updates, news, notes, and alerts on your Crimson Tide. But not just through YouTube, we're also streaming this through Facebook, so all my Facebook people out there coming to you guys, and to Twitter as well. But once again, got a lot to get into, and we want you to be a part of the conversation. And you can do that by calling 205-448-1358. The number 2, call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, in case you didn't quite hear me, 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in. Definitely want to hear from you. And as always, it's good to be joined by my main man in the production studio, the man, the myth, the bona fide legend, the maestro, putting that flavor in your ear, the man John Ivory. It's always cool having John with me each and every time we do this production. But we're going to get into the conversation, but first and foremost, folks, a little update here. Defensive lineman Christian Barmore, redshirt sophomore defensive lineman Christian Barmore, did not scrimmage on last week. He sustained a slight minor knee injury prior to the scrimmage. Coach Saban talked about he did not work Barmore just to avoid be played in his spot, but it's nothing serious, nothing severe, nothing significant. He'll be out for a few days, couple of days, and he will be back. I know Coach Saban mentioned during his presser that Barmore is one of the more explosive pass rushers on the team. He is definitely a fan favorite, but the redshirt sophomore, a small injury, slight knee injury there, will be out a few days, but we'll be back before we know it. But that's just some news there on one Christian Barmore. But we jump into now topic number 1 of the conversation. On last week, over the weekend, Crimson Tide, its final preseason scrimmage of fall camp. And while most collegiate programs struggle to find one quarterback, you look at Georgia right now, Jamie Newman, you thought he would be the guy, he decides to opt out. So now Kirby Smart is looking at, is it going to be JT Daniels? Is it going to be Carson Beck? Is it going to be somebody else? They're trying to figure out who is the one quarterback we have that can play winning football. In the same way with LSU, after the magical run it had with Joe Burrow in 2019, you had players that got drafted, some decided to opt out. You had 2 coaches to leave, and now the Tigers are looking like, is Miles Brennan truly the guy? So with teams in the SEC having question marks at quarterback, for you guys out there, Crimson Tide Nation, Alabama's got 3 quarterbacks on this roster. All 3 can play winning football. Not a lot of people talk about Paul Tyson. He had a big-time scrimmage himself, and we'll get to him in a minute. But the 2 people that get the most of the conversation, Mac Jones and Bryce Young. You want to talk about 2 flamethrowers going pound for pound, round for round, bar for bar with each other in the final scrimmage of preseason camp. You know, both of these guys did a tremendous job. And I talked about it last week to end last week's show on Friday. This was a huge scrimmage for Bryce Young. Did not have spring practice because of the coronavirus pandemic. Coach Saban had to fight for the preseason practice program. This was not your typical average fall camp. And then, Bryce, no spring. He missed the first scrimmage due to illness there. He was at the live game practice at Bryant-Denny. Did okay, not great. But for him to be able to compartmentalize everything, put all of that behind him, and go out in the final scrimmage and find a way to control Nick Saban's attention, or get Nick Saban's attention, attract Coach Saban's eyeballs, if you will, show Coach Saban, hey, Coach, Mac Jones can do some things, yes. He's experienced, yes. 4th year in the system, yes. Hard worker, yes, but let me take you to my side, Coach Saban. Let me show you to my hood, Coach Nick. Let me show you how Bryce Young gets down over here, and let me show you that I'm not a 5-star for nothing. I'm not a U.S. Army All-America Bowl MVP for nothing. I'm not an Elite 11 quarterback for nothing. There's a lot of substance to me, and I remember we had Lavelle Durant, the elite quarterback developer out of Seattle, Washington, on last week, and he talked about how the biggest thing he wanted to see from Bryce was the patience. We know he's got an electric arm. We know he has a lot of athletic capabilities, but can he have the patience here in this second scrimmage, not force anything, not rush anything, take his time? And he did that in this exhibition, made some explosive plays, made some special plays, but this is also huge for Mac Jones because the model of consistency. Mac Jones showed you in the first scrimmage 3 touchdown passes, came back in the live action game-like practice, had a much better completion percentage, had a bigger day in that event, and then the final scrimmage, showing Nick Saban and the team, I got what it takes, I got what you need. I can put this team on my back and take it to the national championship and win that championship. So Coach Saban was very pleased with the entire offense, the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends, but he saved some big praise here for these quarterbacks. So check this out. This was Coach Saban after the final scrimmage talking about the entire quarterback room, but more importantly, Mac Jones and Bryce Young.
They were very good today, very efficient, good completion percentages, threw for, some big plays, made some explosive plays in critical situations, made some, good plays in special situations. I think the offense was pretty good on 3rd down, which always goes back to quarterback decision making and people getting open. So they played well.
And that was Alabama head football coach Nick Saban just giving some praise there to the quarterback room after the final scrimmage of preseason camp. And like I said, this was big for both guys, and especially when you talk, the guy that Bryce Young is the most compared to right now is Tua Tagovailoa. And Tua had more preseason opportunities than Young had. Remember, Tua got to Alabama between December 2016 and January of 2017, helping the Tide prepare for the second matchup, the rematch between Alabama and Clemson for a national championship. So Tua got on campus early. Then he had a full, fourth quarter program in the offseason. He had a full spring practice. We're talking 15 practices, an A-day game, numerous workout sessions, numerous times in the film room. And if you remember the spring game, that was the matchup that Tua and Jalen Hurts both looked like two gladiators exchanging blows. So before the season even started in 2017, Tua got a lot of preseason opportunities, and then he played quite a bit in the 2017 regular season, and it wasn't until the national championship game, second half of that game, where Coach Saban goes, "We love what you do, Jalen, but we got to have a spark here second half offensively," and that's where he went to Tua. So even though Tua had way more opportunities preseason than Bryce, it still took toward the national championship game for folks to really go, "That's the backup quarterback? Holy gosh, that's the backup quarterback?" It took to the national championship game for people to really be open and kind of sold there onto us. So now, with Bryce, he's in a good spot here. Didn't have spring, missed the first scrimmage, was okay in the preseason. It was okay in the practice-like situation, but to come back in the second scrimmage and play well, huge for Young. I still think Mac Jones starts. He's been here going on his fourth season. He's been in game action with bullets flying in the SEC, played well against Arkansas as a starter, played well against Auburn as a starting quarterback. People look at the 2 interceptions. Yes, I get it, but I always go back to, what does Nick Saban say? He says, "What's your resolve? How do you respond from a play? Do you let that ruin your entire day? Or are you able to put that in the back of your mind, go back out there, still ball out, still command the troops, still make plays out there on the football field?" And that's exactly what Mac Jones did. 335 passing yards and 4 touchdowns against the Tigers, and still put Alabama in position to win the football game. And that's what Coach Saban wants. He wants his quarterbacks keeping the team in position to win football games. And of course, against Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, Jones 16 for 27 passing for 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. So for me, right now, Mac starts until he shows that, hey, maybe the pressure's too much for me. Maybe the situation's too much for me. Maybe the stage is too big for me. Until he shows you that he is not the guy, that he is not capable, that he cannot command this offense or operate this offense, Mac Jones, to me, starting quarterback. But to see Bryce Young go out there and perform well, I know it's kind of too early to say this, but this kind of feels like part 2 from 2017 with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, in which Nick Saban's going, "Okay, I got quarterbacks on my roster that can play winning football. I got quarterbacks on my roster that can operate this offense. They got all the playmakers around them, running backs, receivers, tight ends, strong offensive line as well." So if you're an Alabama fan right now, you got to be giddy with glee. You got to be really happy about this because, like I mentioned, you got LSU wondering, okay, is Miles Brennan it or not? Is it Miles Brennan or not? Like, do we have to go to a second person here? When you look at Georgia, is it JT Daniels? Is it Carson Beck? Are we dealing with the little engine that could, and we're on fire right now? We don't know what to do. So Georgia's got their issues right there. Texas A&M, you're wondering, is Kellen Mond the guy, or should we look for another? Ole Miss, it's got John Rice Plumlee, but they're trying to see, can he pass the football? Can he be an effective thrower of the football? He can run it now, but can Plumlee be an effective passer of the football? Tennessee's trying to find its quarterback. It thought it would be Jared Guarantano. That didn't work. Brian Maurer was pretty good as a freshman, but now here comes the Harrison Bailey young man, the high 4-star. They think he's the guy. And even down with Auburn, the question is, can Bo Nix take that next step, or will he get kind of caught in limbo here? So for a lot of quarterbacks in this conference, you're trying to locate one signal caller. You're trying to locate one quarterback. But with Alabama, you got 3 guys here that are highly capable of playing winning football. And even down to one Paul Tyson. I know a lot of people don't talk about Paul. he doesn't get a lot of attention in the page clicks and things of that nature. But Paul Tyson had a big scrimmage. He too, big completion percentage, explosive plays, effective plays, efficient plays. Heard from one credible source in particular, a number of these guys, but two in particular were like, he had a few big scoring drives himself. And Coach Saban mentioned this young man from Hewitt-Trussville High School in Alabama, around the Birmingham area, significantly improved. Paul Tyson significantly improved at the quarterback position. So the Tide, they got a lot of guys here on the roster. Got a lot of guys on the roster that they can go to. And during this time of the coronavirus pandemic, Coach Saban has mentioned, got to make sure you're developing multiple guys that can play. A lot of guys at a lot of positions because you don't really know what can happen. Knocking on wood, hopefully nobody gets hurt. Knocking on wood, hopefully nobody misses a whole bunch of time because David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray have done a bang-up job as the new strength staff. But in the event that something was to happen, it is good to have, multiple guys be able to step up and play, various positions, especially at quarterback. So it's just good to see, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and Paul Tyson all put up a good showing there in the final scrimmage of fall camp, as fall camp concluded on last week. And now Alabama, Coach Saban, this program has turned its attention to the matchup against Missouri. That game once again will be on Saturday, September 26th at Columbia. But this was huge for Bryce Young, him showing that, hey, yes, I missed the first scrimmage. Yes, I didn't have spring ball. Yes, I didn't play maybe my best in the game-like practice, but I came out here in the second scrimmage, the final exhibition. I showed Coach Saban, hey, I can maneuver this offense. I can make some explosive plays. I can do some big things. It was great to see Mac Jones say, young buck, hey, Bryce, young cat, young blood, no, you're good, son. No, you're good, but I'm still breathing. Mac 10, Mac Jizzle, still here. Still breathing, still throwing the football here. So it was good to see that consistency there from Mac Jones, leaving Paul Tyson there putting up some numbers as well. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that down. We're just getting your chest warm here on a Monday. Upon our return, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your questions right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
And we are back into the action here, folks. Starting your work week off correctly on a Monday in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news here, and appreciating everybody for tuning in to the show on today. Be sure to give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on, so that way you can have the best in alerts, news, notes, and updates on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. But before we get to your phone calls, this is your time, Tide Nation. Got some super chats here to shout out. How about Gucci Tide? Gucci Tide bringing in that cool $5 in there. Viva super chats here, helping us out here at TDA. Gucci Tide. Kevin Compton, that 99 cents. One short of a buck there, but Kevin Compton, that 99 cents. To appreciate that love there from Kevin Compton. Jay Lee bringing in that cool $10 there, helping us out here at TDA via the super chats. And even our own Willie 351 dropping that fresh 777 there in the super chats. Appreciate that love coming from Gucci Tide, Kevin Compton, Jay Lee, and Willie 351. But it's your time, Tide Nation. It's your time. 205 448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the network, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are your thoughts here as we are now a good 2 weeks away now from Crimson Tide football? But as you're getting your thoughts together here, how about the Crimson Tide? Crimson Tide moving up to number 2 in the updated AP poll, the updated AP Top 25 college football ranking poll that came out on Sunday. Alabama has yet to play any action this season, but moved up from number 3 to number 2. Started off third in the preseason behind the likes of Clemson at number 1, Ohio State at number 2, but Alabama jumped up to 2 behind those Clemson Tigers and head coach Dabo Swinney. And after 2 years of not winning a national championship, if I've mentioned this once, I've mentioned it quite a few times here, Coach Saban is coaching with a sense of urgency right now. He does not want another year passing him by without clutching that national championship, without holding that college football playoff trophy with him being, or Alabama, I should say, being the champion. But before I continue with this topic, we got a call in the queue starting us off on a Monday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on? Live on In My Own Words. What's going on, caller?
Yo, this is McDonald.
We actually got another call in the queue here. I think this is my man Waitr. What's going on?
Well, I was sitting back. I was going to leave the phone lines open tonight and let everybody else call in, but they wanted me to call in, so here I am. No other place I'd rather be on Monday than TDA. How's everybody doing at TDA, Stephen?
Man, we are doing fantastic, man. We're 2 weeks away from Alabama, Missouri. Crimson Tide wrapping up fall camp. Second scrimmage was really good. Proud of the quarterbacks. Everybody on offense. Defensively making progress. Making a lot of progress there on defense. And even heard the kicking game did well. Hopefully we can get this in a game to see these kickers do well in the actual football games. But so far, hearing some good things here as we concluded fall camp on last week.
Yeah, well, that's a good. Yeah, I saw the press conference we had there with TDA and Coach Saban talking real positive there about things. So I'm not too worried about it. I think everything's going to come together real well there, and we'll see just what happens here in a few days when we go over to Old Mizzou there, and they may wish we hadn't showed up. But I did see your polls there you done on YouTube about the number 12 and number 13 jersey. Tell them about the number 12 and 13 jersey there.
Okay, so I wasn't trying, weighing in, to put too much of a burden on the Crimson Tide Nation, but I think I did because I had a lot of people call me and they were like, Stephen, why in the world, what in the Sam Hill in the worst my mom made you do this, Stephen? You sat there and put all of these people that we have to kind of pick between. They're all great. So the number 12, I know I had Pat Trammell on there, and Pat Trammell was a legend. I had Kenny Stabler on there, had Joe Namath on there. Both of those legends. All three of those guys were the Bear Bryant guys right there. And then, of course, Greg McElroy was on there, the first national championship quarterback of the Saban era. So I wasn't trying to stress the fan base out. Believe you guys, I was not trying to do that. I thought about putting Brody Kroll in there, but I was like, Brody was good, but Brody had a couple of injuries there, but I liked Brody, really did. So wasn't trying to stress anybody out. But the number 13, of course, Tua Tagovailoa, self-explanatory, great quarterback, great young man, tremendous leader. And George Teague, one of the best defensive backs to ever play here.
Yeah, it's a hard decision to make here, but you have to go back to Coach Bryant's most favorite player was Pat Trammell, the first national championship team in 1961. The native of Scottsboro, Alabama. You know, he passed up NFL career to be a doctor and went on to be a doctor, and you know, life suddenly took him away there with cancer at the age of 28, and that was a very sad situation. But he cemented the number 12 in Alabama history there, Pat did. George done a lot of good things in 92. He was hard to get around. Tua was the best. Made a historic throw to win the championship. George played in the first SEC championship game. You're making it tough, Stephen. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I know there's a lot of people in the queue, and we want to remember one guy here. we forgot to do this last week. I've got it written down here. I will say this before I go. Mr. John Thompson, he was a legendary basketball coach at Georgetown that passed away. I remember the days of sitting there watching TV and seeing him introduce a young Patrick Ewing to the college football platform there. And that he was a historic basketball coach, Stephen.
He absolutely was. John Thompson, great man. He birthed a lot of black coaches. He birthed a lot of black coaches, not just into college basketball, but helped maneuver guys into the pros, and just really loved, trusted, and did right by every player he had.
Oh, exactly right. Remember the days of Tom Hammond and Joe Dean when he was on Channel 17 watching the basketball games on Wednesday night. But hello to everybody in the chat. I appreciate all the love. I hope all y'all have a safe Tuesday. We'll try to get a poem here for later on in the week, and we're going to roll on out of here. Y'all light these phone lines up. Keep this chat going. Man, we got up to 104 tonight. Looking good. I'm glad to see the CEO of TDA in here tonight. Be glad to listen to him and everybody that is coming in, helping Stephen. This is a great show. Y'all keep it up. Love the chat. Well, I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Y'all be safe, Stephen. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye, Stephen.
Appreciate the love during the call. They're coming from our own way and here, joining us in here on a Monday to start the show. But we continue the call session. You are live on In My Own Words. What's on your mind right now?
What's going on, Stephen? This is Sean from Huntsville.
What's going on, Sean?
Not much, man. How you guys doing up there at TDA, man?
Man, cannot complain, man. Can't complain. Waiting on this fall weather to come in here, but you know something? When you're in Alabama, you just got to be patient, man.
Definitely, man. I wanted to call and say roll tide to all the guys in the chat. Kind of was laughing at you about your 12 and 13. You know how it is when you start comparing jersey numbers and errors.
Sean, I wasn't trying to stress folks out, man. I really wasn't.
I tell you this, man. It's fun though. It's fun to. I feel like it's fun to compare everybody's favorite number compared to errors, compared to who was number this and this era, and was he better than this and it? Because everybody got different criteria. Does championships count? Does individual statistics count? Does how many years they played at Bama count? I think a lot of different things count, man, because me in my day, in my personal day, I'm a 90s guy. I had an opportunity, didn't play against him, but we lost to Etowah before we got a chance to play against his squad, J.O. I still say just for my era, just for me, I've never, ever seen an athlete like David Palmer, number 2. We call him Papa Cherry in Birmingham. David Palmer, well, in Birmingham, that's what they call him, but David Palmer was the best. Number 2, the Deuce, the original Deuce, as far as in my day. I've never seen an athlete like that in high school or college. And, so it's fun to compare eras, man, and really see who was where. And you got to remember back in the 90s, man, for all those that don't know, when they had Sherman Williams at tailback, he was a tailback from Blunt High School, the same high school that Damian Craig played at, the kid that played at Auburn. It was a lot of great athletes back then, man. Antonio Langham, them dudes was Kevin Lee. Them guys was transcendent, man. I promise you. If you don't remember, take my word for it. These guys, man, they was the best of the best back then, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But, Sean, as always, man, we appreciate the love. We appreciate the call, man. You take it easy.
Okay, man. Take care. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. We continue with the phone lines on a Monday. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Yeah, this is McDonald's.
This is not. Say it again.
Yeah, it's McDonald's. Can I get the new Travis Scott burger?
This is not McDonald's here. We go to the next caller in the queue here. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Roll Tide, my man.
What's going on?
Hey. I just want to add to this whole conversation we're having tonight about the old school players versus the new school players and comparing those jersey numbers. That brings up a big thing, and those number 13s, they both had really big plays in national championship games. Just a single play that sticks out in your mind that we'll never forget. Those two may be my favorite plays in my lifetime. And that's awesome. But I also wanted to, while we're talking about guys, older guys, some guys that played at my high school, small town here in Valley, Alabama. We had John Copeland and Lemansky Hall both played, on the same team at this little small town, and then went on to Alabama to do huge things and win that championship in '92. And so I think, that jersey number thing, that's something that you can keep doing in the future and keep people, I think that'll keep people's attention.
You know what? Now that you have said that, I do not feel bad doing it. But, my man, we appreciate the call, man. We appreciate the love. Keep listening to us.
Yeah, roll top, brother.
Absolutely. We continue with well, as you guys are continuing to get your thoughts going in here, 205-448-1358, the number to call in to get your voice be heard on the show. Just continuing my final thoughts here on the first topic, that being the Crimson Tide at number 2 here on the AP Top 25 poll here. Alabama, the goal is to get back to the national championship stage, back to the college football playoff, and finish the job. After 2 years of not winning a championship, 2 years of the defense not being what U.S. fans and I myself and the media have seen it or have grown accustomed to it being, Saban's goal here, sense of urgency, get everybody playing better, get everybody playing faster, get everybody playing with more discipline, get back to that stage, and bring home that national championship. But we go to another break here on the show. Upon our return, we continue with other things that stood out in the final scrimmage of preseason camp. Don't touch that dial. We'll talk about it after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waitr and Crimson2go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We popping smoother than an old school Cadillac. No, I'm just joking. We're back in here from the break on the hottest show on the streets, number 1 forum for Crimson Tide football news on a Monday, starting your work week off correctly, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Be sure to give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. But as fun as it is to talk quarterbacks, it's fun to talk quarterbacks. It's exciting to talk that position. But there were other things that stood out. There were other highlights from the final exhibition of fall camp. We're going to get into some of those right now. The first one was, how about the offensive line? The depth on this offensive line, the versatility on this offensive line is crazy. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it doesn't really matter which 5 Nick Saban, which 5 offensive line coach Kyle Flood. It doesn't really matter which 5 is put on the field. This is going to be a diverse, versatile, All-American, Joe Moore Award-winning group here. And here's why I say this. So, over the weekend, Alex Leatherwood did not scrimmage, the left tackle back for the Crimson Tide. He's played in a lot of games. He's played in 35 career games, including 28 starts at left tackle and at right guard. So Leatherwood's got a lot of experience. Didn't scrimmage over the weekend. Alabama had Kendall Randolph in his place. So from left to right here, the offensive line was Kendall Randolph, Deontay Brown, Landon Dickerson, Emil Ikior Jr., and Evan Neal. Those brothers went to work. The running backs, awesome scrimmage. All the running backs played well. Quarterbacks were protected. Coach Saban talked about the efficiency on third down. And that's not just because of the quarterbacks and wide receivers, though those guys play a major role. It also goes back to that offensive line, giving that quarterback time in the pocket to make those decisions and deliver the football on time. And this offensive line, the depth, the versatility, the diversity, just the all-around talent on this group and also the experience on this group, this is a big-time group. And just to me here, how I see this offensive line stacking up in the upcoming season, the starting group from left to right, definitely give me Leatherwood at left tackle, Deontay Brown left guard, Landon Dickerson at center. His versatility, diversity, and playing both center and guard is incredible. And then you've got Ekiyor at right guard and Evan Neal at right tackle. Just a massive, massive line there. So Coach Saban, proud of this group. He talks about how it's the offensive line that has been really challenging the defensive front throughout fall camp. They're pushing these guys. They're getting these guys better. It's a good battle. It's a good battle between the offensive line and the defensive front there. But this group up front here with the bodies it's got across the board, and Coach Saban talked about how we got to make sure we are preparing multiple guys, multiple players, just to be sure that if something was to happen, we can go to our bench and pull somebody that we feel confident about. This guy can play winning football on the offensive line. So very pleased with that group. That's number one. But number two highlight from the scrimmage was Bama's got some tight ends. Alabama will be rotating 4 tight ends this season. 4. Rotating in Miller Forrestall, Jaleel Billingsley, Carl Tucker, and 1 Cameron Latu. Now, the main 2 that will start off in the rotation will be Miller Forrestall and Carl Tucker. Both of those guys have a lot of experience. They've played a lot of football. They have the great skill sets. Miller Forrestall will be kind of the H-back guy, kind of a security blanket for Mac Jones. Carl Tucker, power hands at tight end, really good blocker, can catch on the outside as well. Remember, he comes over with 38 games of experience from North Carolina, 36 catches in his career with 549 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. So he comes over with a lot of experience. He'll see big playing time. And then with Cameron Latu, who had a great fall camp, he worked extensively with the first team unit. And Jaleel Billingsley, both of those 2 will be alternated as Coach Saban sees fit. Jaleel Billingsley had 2 touchdowns in both scrimmages. He had a touchdown in the first scrimmage. He had a score in the second scrimmage. The team really starting to see him grow and blossom as a full, complete player at that tight end position. Like I mentioned last week, for U.S. Tide fans, you want everybody with the ball in their hands to be a threat, and being a threat in 3 different ways, whether it's scoring the football, whether it's moving the chains, converting first downs, or whether it's a player running over a defensive player and putting that fear in the back of the defensive player's mind, like, I am not going anywhere near that brother again because I'm not trying to get killed for a second time. So tight ends, Alabama rotating 4 guys here at that position. Third thing that stood out to me, the Alabama defensive line and defensive secondary. Coach Saban mentioned a lot of progress being made. A lot of progress being made at both spots. On the defensive line, Justin Eboigbe is a freak. Justin Eboigbe, the sophomore out of Forest Park, Georgia, at 6'5", 285 pounds. That guy's a freak. And he played he filled in for LeBron Ray this last season. LeBron Ray played in 3 games, hurt his foot against South Carolina. Eboigbe came in, really did a fine job, a solid job, and grew throughout the season. And per Saban, he's the one that's been playing with the most consistency on that defensive front. Now, Saban loves Christian Barmore. Now, he did say that Barmore is the best pass rusher on the team. But in terms of just the full consistency on the defensive line, Saban targeted Eboigbe there in that spot. So the one thing that Saban wants to see more of he wants to see more from the defensive front is just everybody being all around good players. He wants to see the pass rushers be able to also play your assignment, play your gap, be disciplined, and stopping the run. We know you can rush the quarterback, and we love you rushing the quarterback, and we love you creating those negative plays in the backfield on the passing game, but also being able to plug up those holes, fill those gaps, and stop the run. And for those defensive linemen that are great in stopping the run, he wants to see those guys being able to affect the quarterback, improve the pass rush, pressure the pocket, hit the pocket, make that quarterback feel your presence a little bit. So he wants the all-around game of everybody on the defensive line. Now, when it goes to the secondary, Coach Saban in this secondary. So the base 3-4 alignment in the secondary, we're looking at your two corners, Patrick Surtain and Josh Jobe, or Patrick Surtain and Marcus Banks. The young man Marcus Banks from Texas has been growing. So you're looking at Patrick Surtain on one side, either Josh Jobe or Marcus Banks on the opposite end. Your two safeties, of course, Daniel Wright and Jordan Battle. Now, when Alabama goes into nickel here, the surprise at nickel, come on down Malachi Moore, the four-star true freshman from Hewitt-Trussville High School here in Alabama. That young man's been a stud. He was overlooked coming in here a little bit. Not a lot of people talked about him, put his head down, put his nose to the grindstone, went to work, really bought all into the process, looked good in both scrimmages, and as of right now, he's the guy at nickel. Brian Branch is a big-time stud, too. He's kind of that highlight safety. But Malachi Moore right now has kind of put himself in position as the guy at nickel. Now, while Coach Saban loves what he has in the nickel package, the dime package is where we're trying to get more folks to play winning football at, because in dime with Xavier McKinney in the NFL, DeMarco Helms returns as the leader, as that dime back, that 6 DB, but Coach Saban trying to develop more depth behind Helms. He mentioned, hey, if we can't get the guys we want in dime, we'll play more so in nickel, but I feel like Alabama can get the guys in dime, but the defense making progress. And last but not least, the special teams. Will Riker had a good day, and I know what you're saying, fans. I believe it, Steven, when I see it. I'll believe the kicking game when I see it on the football field. I understand you, touche. I understand you. But Nick Saban didn't mention here, Will Riker, 4 of 5 on field goals in the second scrimmage. He went 6 of 7 on kicks. In both exhibitions combined, he nailed a pair of 50-plus yarders in the first scrimmage. And I've always said, the scholarship for the kicking game, if you can make kicks in excess of 50 yards, that's more than love. That's iced on the cake. That's gravy on the mashed potatoes. Like, that's great. But your scholarship is within 40 yards. Your scholarship is making those extra points. If you can do that, and if you can do that on a consistent basis, Alabama football fans, so they're fine with you, because that's what they want. You making your extra points, and you making your kicks within 40 yards. I know Riker was hurt last year after the Southern Miss game. He's back healthy, so hopefully this time around he can make good on his promise of ending those kicking woes for the Tide. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, folks. Still rocking and rolling here. When we get back, we sit down with the founder and CEO of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Mr. Bennie Bice III. You get Mr. Bice right after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Folks, we are back into the action here on the hottest show on the streets, the #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. But it's not about me. We are graciously joined here by the founder and CEO of the company, Mr. Bennie Bice III. How we doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Why you call me sir for, man?
Gotta show the respect, man. Gotta show the respect, man. We're live right here with my man, Mr. Bennie, right here, founder and CEO of the company and a brand that's been around for quite some time. Started in 2007. Just my question to you is, what sparked this? What birthed this? You wanting to do this?
Well, I mean, that's twofold, right? I mean, first thing, I give all honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, right?
Absolutely.
Because I pray about different things, before we do them. But I looked at the Alabama football media and how it was covered. I want to do something different. I wanted something that we could cover Alabama football independently and only Alabama football. I felt like it was something different than what was out there. In addition, we want to have a print magazine when we first started, as you know. I felt like at the time it wasn't many print publications covering Alabama and wanted to, do something different. That was really it, man. Just prayed about it, asked God, what should we do? And then, had the opportunity. My dad, God bless him and in heaven, he was the first person that believed in it. And said, here you go. Here's a little bit of money. Let's start it. And then I was just blessed to meet people like yourself and Justin and Larry and so many people. My boy Brandon. We're kind of like a family, but that's kind of what started.
When you look at Benny, so many outlets covering Alabama football, but for TDA, it's kind of, you're giving it through a different lens. You're giving it through a different perspective, a different eye, a different idea. So what kind of transcended that? Because you hear so many voices and it all kind of sounds the same. So what kind of made you go this route? I'm going to give you Bama football, but I'm going to have a different tick to it.
Man, really, is you. You and Larry and a lot of people that came aboard. It's not about me, right? I mean, I'm behind the scenes. I try to do things to help grow, our brand and our business, but it's about the talent. Not everybody can do what you do. I don't think a lot of people realize the work that you put in. You pretty much 247. I mean, you're covering all the time.
You can see the bags under my eyes, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that you and I know about, but a lot of other people don't know. And same with Justin. It's really talent, that we have. And then I think originally when we started, we wanted to do just a print magazine. We didn't have, plans to really do a website. But after a couple of years, we started noticing that, print was kind of going down a little bit. We still want to have that because it's different. Nobody else that I know of really has a print, magazine you get with your subscription, for example. But we wanted to, we saw that the internet was really just blowing up, around that, we started in 2007, probably about 2010, 11. We started kind of transitioning toward that type of coverage. And, having you and Larry at the time kind of, keep us afloat doing the internet stuff. And then, we were blessed over the last few years to bring in just great talent. It's terrific. I think the best in the business. Justin, I think the best recruiting guy. This guy's on the road.
I'm telling you, he's got a better tan than I have.
Oh yeah, man. The guys on the road nonstop. People really don't realize. My business partner Brandon came in about 5 years, almost 6 years ago. He kind of helped transform us, more to being able to do a lot of the online coverage, and then. Your show, growing it. As you got a studio now, we it's not, we're not, we've just continued to grow, so it's really about the talent.
Folks, if you're just tuning in to the show right now on a Monday, we got the founder and CEO of Touchdown Alabama magazine, Mr. Bennie, right here, joining us live here on today. And now, so what's the next steps here for the brand? Because with every brand, you're trying to get bigger, you're trying to get better, you're trying to find ways, okay, this is good, but how can we tweak it even more? So what's kind of the next steps here in the evolution?
Man, we have a lot of things coming. We're gonna expand our recruiting coverage with Justin, obviously. We brought another full-time person, Pat. He's gonna be doing a lot of
that dude.
a lot of different things. We're gonna be expanding, a lot of coverage that you do as well. It's so much stuff. I don't want to give out the secret yet. You know what I mean? Because I know you know how the media is. People try to emulate some of the things you do, but we do have a lot of different, unique, fun things coming. So it's gonna be exciting. We're at the tip of the iceberg. I know we're independent, kind of newer in comparison to a lot of other networks and stuff like that. But that gives us the opportunity to do a lot of different things. So we have a lot of that coming.
Since 2007, Benny, you've been a part of a lot of events here, not just for the magazine, but in just Alabama football, period. What was probably your favorite event covering Tide football throughout your time doing this?
Man, easy. 2009 national championship. At that time, I know you had just came on in 08.
Yeah, I had came on in 09 because I was doing the online pro connection stuff.
Yeah. So at that time, we had we were kind of structured differently. We had all of our team was writers for the magazine, but going to that game, it was incredible, man. I mean, it was kind of a culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of prayer, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, and just grinding, as an independent outlet. So that was, for me, like, just wonderful. And then also that year, it's not event wise, but that was the time I kind of knew that we can do it, because that's when we consistently were able to print a magazine. And that issue right there, that Trent Richardson issue, was our second issue we printed in 2009, back when we printed a whole bunch of issues per year. So that that kind of let me know that we were onto something. We could actually do this.
Now, when you just look at just independent owned brand, independent owned magazine, so and just what different, kind of just what goes into the idea of the content that you want to put out? Is it something that just sticks out in your mind, or you may say, okay, well, they're reporting it this way, let's try to do it that way? Like, what sticks out in terms of the content that you want to put out?
Yeah, I mean, doing stuff a little different. Not having the same everyday type of content. Not trying to diss anybody that has that type of coverage. We want to have that, but we also want to do some stuff different. For example, your show is different. There's nothing like it. If you really think about it, as far as covering Alabama football. As far as what Justin does recruiting, it's different because he's actually on the road, doing recruiting. A lot of these companies don't really do that. So it's different. That's really the main thing. Just it's looking at the marketplace. What Alabama fans want is really what's going to drive it. There's a lot of things we want to do, but it's really what Alabama fans want to see. What we're seeing they want to see. Praying, kind of getting ideas, stuff like that.
He's Bennie Bice, ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, joining me graciously here on this show. Bennie, as always, thank you.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us on In My Own Words. Well, folks, we'll take another break right here. I didn't forget y'all. When we come back, we go to your phone calls, your chats, your tweets, your questions, your concerns. We get back to our dialogue after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We still cha-cha sliding, folks. Still cha-cha sliding on a Monday, getting your work week started on the hottest show in the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football. News, notes, and information. That being in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating you guys for tuning in on today as we are back on you, Tide fans. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on? Live on In My Own Words, caller. Well, as you guys are continuing to get your thoughts in to call into the show here, how about David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray here for a minute? More importantly, Dr. Matt Ray here for a minute. Dr. Ray posted 2 tweets to social media this week, and this was following Alabama fall camp, the conclusion of fall practice. He has shared some impressive strength numbers, some impressive squatting numbers and pull-up numbers from different players here on the team. In terms of the squatting numbers, he displayed Landon Dickerson, Deontay Brown, and Emil Ekiyor Jr., 3 of the guys that will be potentially starting on this offensive line. So between the 3 guys combined, we're looking at squatting 1,885 pounds. Dear goodness, 1,185 pounds squatting between those 3. Landon Dickerson just himself, 765 pounds. Now, when you go to on the defensive side, true freshman outside linebacker Quindarius Robinson out of Jackson Olin High School in Birmingham at 6'5", 220 pounds. Now, he'll fill out that body frame a bit more. He's one of the 4 to 5 linebackers that came in the 2020 class along with Chris Braswell, Will Anderson, and Drew Sanders. But Quindarius Robinson, Dr. Ray challenged him. Okay, so Dr. Ray was like, how many pull-ups can you do? A number of 1 to 50. How many pull-ups can you do? And Quindarius Robinson said, Coach, I can do 50. So he tries to do 50. He gets to 49, which is still really impressive. They're doing those pull-ups. And Dr. Ray really excited to see these young men, these athletes, taking the workout seriously, taking the grind seriously, taking the training and the exercise seriously. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, 205-448-1358. The number to call into the show, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you. We take a call right now. You are live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Stephen? My name's Austin.
How are we feeling, Austin?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good. I know I'm ready for some Alabama football, that's for sure.
It comes back, man, September 26th. It comes back in 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks, Alabama, Mizzou. Coach Saban trying to get that 7th national championship. Love the quarterback room. Love the offense. Defense has been improving. Defense has been making a whole bunch of progress. It's great to have Dylan Moses back.
Man, when I saw his picture from camp on there, I was like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to eat. Let's go.
I mean, it's happy to have Dylan Moses back, but along with him, is it me or does Christian Harris look more like a tank now? I know he dropped about 12 pounds this summer. He's now 6'2", 232, and he played well as a freshman. But Christian Harris looks like a tank now.
Christian Harris is a beast, man. He kind of reminds me of Reuben Foster in a way as far as his attitude on the field, but his size, man, it's no match for him, man.
Looking forward to having a good year from him and other guys as well, man. But, Austin, we appreciate the call, man. You keep listening to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good time, man.
Appreciating Austin calling in there. We continue with the calls right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Not too much, Stephen. I actually just moved up here to Chicago this past week, and just wanted to let you know the show is at the very least spread up here through this football season. Just wanted to run something by you. I don't think there's any year that can really showcase the effectiveness of Rhea and Blue more than this year. I don't know how much football you got to catch this past weekend, but brother, there's a lot of people that have not gotten into the shape that they've needed to here in these 5 or 6 weeks that they've had to lead up to this season. I think that the extra couple weeks to prepare, as compared to maybe the ACC, is going to help Alabama. And I also think that the scientific angle that's been taken behind all the training that they've done since they've started back is going to go into full effect. And I think they're going to be more in shape than everybody they play.
Not only just that, and that's a good point, but not only just that, you got to give credit to Greg Sankey also, the commissioner of the SEC, for having the foresight to, let's push the season back. Everybody else is panicking. Let's push the season back. Let's see what everybody else does, and then we make our play. So you got to give Greg Sankey credit also.
Oh, trust me. I've already had my time to talk to a lot of these Big Ten fans up here. They're pretty ticked off. They weren't really understanding a lot of the decisions made by Kevin Warren and the other chancellors and presidents from the schools up here. And you got to take your hat off to Sankey. He's done an outstanding job, and I can't think of anybody better for it. But I just wanted to say I listened in on Bennie Bice's interview just a little bit earlier. And, it really is, it's great to see that the Lord has really blessed your company. And, I hope that he continues to. I mean, having Alabama be as dominant as they have the past 12 or 13 years probably hasn't hurt anything, but, maybe they'll hold up their end, because I know y'all will hold up yours. Appreciate the time, Stephen. I look forward to talking to you again, bud.
Absolutely, man. Keep listening to us. Thanks for the call. We appreciate everybody calling into the show. Once again, as always, 205-448-1358. You can also leave a voicemail. With that number, 205-448-1358. Leave a voicemail and a text message as well. We're going to take another break here on the show, but upon our return, we're going to get into the transformation of one Ben Davis. What? Are you telling me Ben Davis is going to start this year? That's exactly what I'm saying. And we'll talk the Ben Davis transformation after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back into the action, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in, calling in, listening to the show on a Monday, starting that work week off correctly on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into the final topic, got to remind you, you are a diehard Alabama fan, diehard fan here. You love the Crimson Tide, you eat it, you breathe it, you sleep it, you go to church in it, you enjoy Tide football, and you are for the coaching staff, the players, the whole 9 yards. You got to check out TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. And you can purchase the We Want Football shirts and the Let Them Play shirts. We Want Football shirts and the Let Them Play shirts. Now, we're not pigeonholing you to just these two shirts. There's other apparel. You can purchase other apparel, but We Want Football shirts, Let Them Play shirts, courtesy of TDAwear.com, supporting the university, supporting the players, the coaching staff, the athletes, and, of course, us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we get into now, final topic of conversation. Ben Davis, Alabama redshirt senior linebacker. Ben Davis, the transformation of this young man, it's incredible. The story, his full story has come full circle, and we all know it. He started off, 5-star recruit, small high school, Gordo High, in the Tuscaloosa area, the number one inside linebacker prospect in the country for 2016. Everybody was so high on him coming in to Alabama. His father, Wayne Davis, a legend here, at the program, and there were a lot of expectations on Ben. Fans felt like, his father was great. He's a 5-star. He's going to pop. He's going to excel. He's going to dominate, year one. At the very least, he'll red shirt. He'll dominate year two. So Ben comes in here, red shirts the freshman year. 2017, his second year. People are expecting big things from him. It doesn't happen. His buddy, Mac Wilson, has the big season, 4 picks, including a pick 6 in the college football playoff semifinal matchup against Clemson. And then you start to hear some concerns, some outside doubts chirping in like, where is Ben Davis? Why is he not on the field? What's going on? Where's BD? Kid was a 5-star. I don't see him. What in the world is going on? And 2018 rolls around and you're still not seeing Ben. And then here comes the negative vibes. Was he really that good? Was he really that great? Was he overhyped? Was he overevaluated? Like, was he really meant to be at Alabama? A lot of that started happening. And, he got his first sack of his career this past year. But at that time, a lot of people wrote Ben Davis off. And I have seen a lot of 5-stars to come through this program where a similar situation happens and they get discouraged and they get discouraged, they get beat down, they get frustrated, and they transfer out of here. But there is something about Ben Davis. This young man chose not to leave the program despite the rough patch, despite some tough situations. Some of it's self-inflicted, some of it's not. I mean, look at Ben Davis. He's been through 3 defensive coordinators, Jeremy Pruitt, Tosh Lapoy, and now Pete Golding. He's been through 2 outside linebacker coaches, Tosh Lapoy, and now he's on Sal Sunseri. And he had to switch from being an inside linebacker to an outside linebacker. So Ben has been through a lot, but chose to stick around. Something inside of him kept this young man to stick around. And this offseason, this summer, when I tell you the light bulb is on for BD, it is on like the light. I mean, it is on. It is on. Like, pick up the phone, baby. I know you home, baby. It is on for Ben Davis in the sense of this young man right now, 6'4", 250 pounds. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger. He's gotten faster. And if you look at his face, it's the face of determination where it's like, I'm going to prove to everybody, I'm going to prove to myself that Coach Saban made the right decision extending me that scholarship in 2016. I made the right move to come to Alabama in 2016. Like, Alabama is for me. Like, this is my program. And this summer, Coach Saban, very proud of Ben Davis. Pete Golding refers to the man as a coach on the field, talking about, Ben Davis has been in here. He's worked his tail off. He's been in here studying. He's pulled the young guys in here, got them on Zoom, quizzing them, teaching them. And a lot of these young guys probably have, more talent than what he has, but they're going to him. They're looking up to him. They're responding to him. And then DJ Dale, defensive lineman DJ Dale, talked about Ben leads by example. Ben Davis is one of those guys that's always uplifting. Players are going to him like, Ben, what you think about this? Ben, what gap do I hit? Ben, what blitz am I in? Ben, do I take the C gap or the B gap? Ben, what am I doing on this particular play? They're going to Ben Davis. They are going to Ben Davis, and this is Will Anderson, Drew Sanders, Quindarius Robinson, Chris Braswell, Kevin Harris II, King Wakuda, Jerez Parks, everybody but the kitchen sink. They're coming to Ben Davis, an outside linebacker, because this is a guy that has really, truly locked in. So as of right now, Davis is looking at starting on first and second down in the base packages. Now, when Alabama gets into its aggressive, nickel and dime looks, depending on the down and distance on third down, if it's third and, 8, 9, 10, 11, you're going to see those fast edge rushers come off the bench. If it's third and maybe 2, 3, 4, Davis could still be in there in those different situations. But he will start this year. I'm going to say this. If Ben Davis messes around and has a season where he gets between 50 and 70 tackles, between 6 to 8 tackles for loss, 3 to 5 sacks, forces a couple of turnovers, really pushes Alabama to that national championship, and they win the SEC title game when it wins, and gets invited to the Senior Bowl and balls out, gets invited to the NFL Combine and balls out. If he does all of this, somebody get Tom Rinaldi on the phone. If he does this, get Tom Rinaldi on the phone, because this is one of those tear jerkers that you just got to have because of how this young man has gone from the whole cycle. He came in as a 5-star. People were excited for him too. He hits that rough patch and got wrote off a little bit to now he's about to put it all full circle. So pulling for Ben Davis. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. This is very simple and easy to do. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download it from your iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we have you iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Wednesday continuing the topic of Tide football. Always remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also today, final day, to get that online subscription, $5.95 a month. Can't beat that with a stick. Go to touchdownalabama.com, click join, $5.95 a month. Today is the final day to get that online subscription. That link will be found in the description as well. That subscription, the link will be found in the description. But as always, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, school is in. Do everything legitimately now to not be bored. Be sure to get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.